Hello, we're excited to have everyone today. We'll be starting the live training momentarily. Well, we're excited to have everyone on the live training today. I'm Tanner Runya, and I have Chris Nash with me. I'm going to be the moderator for this live training. Just wanted to give a quick introduction to Chris. Chris helps out with our product team and operations here at Awardco, and he will be giving the live training today. And as far as questions go, we wanted to let you know that you have the ability on your end of the training to ask questions, and we'll be sifting through those. If you have questions that are specific or relevant to your program, we ask that you reach out to your account manager. Chris and I will be jumping on calls with each client that have questions about the new release of the finances and the new features that we're having, showing today through the demonstration. But we will be answering questions about the technology, how to use it right here on the call, and we'll see those questions come through. So after Chris is done kind of presenting the technology and talking about the new release, feel free to respond or with any questions that you may have. So with that being said, we'd like to turn the time over to Chris.
Thank you, Tanner. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us on this webinar. One of our core values here at Awardco is to simplify. And our goal is to make your admin experience better by making it more simple and more efficient. I'm excited to introduce some new updates today that were designed to do just that. Make your admin experience more simple by helping you more efficiently manage your finances and your point deposits inside of your Awardco account. Before I get into a demonstration of these new updates, I'd like to spend a few minutes with you reviewing our award networks and our product redemption payment methods. Many of you may know that our award network reaches beyond that of our valued Amazon business integration. You can also get event tickets, hotels, prepaid visas, e-gift cards, and more. In order to purchase products from these award networks, we offer 3 different payment methods. The first 2 are a credit card on file and terms by Amazon. The important thing to note here is that only the Amazon award network is available with these payment methods. And the reason for that is because our other vendors for hotels and event tickets, etc., they're not set up with the same functionality that Amazon has in order to have a credit card on file. So that's an important thing to keep in mind, that these 2 payment methods only work with the Amazon award network. Having a credit card on file is simple. You connect it to your Amazon business account, and as products are purchased, those charges occur on your credit card. Terms by Amazon works in a very similar way. The third payment option is the most common. It's the funding account. We recently changed the name of this payment method from retainer to funding account because the purpose of the funding account is to fund your points. A simple analogy is to think of it like a bank. When you write checks, you have to make sure you have enough money in your bank in order for those checks to cash. Otherwise, they'll bounce. Similarly, as you award points in your Awardco account, you have to have enough money in your funding account in order for products to be purchased when points are redeemed. This is an important key, and we'll talk more about this later, but just remember that. Regardless of the payment method that you use, points have to first be deposited inside your account in order for product redemption to occur. Once points are deposited into your account, you can then award those points through your many programs, and employees can then go and redeem those points for products. However, it's important that points are first deposited in the account. It all starts there. And this has not been simple to do at Awardco until now. I'm excited to announce that with these new updates, you can now go inside of your Awardco account and deposit points at any time at your convenience. I'd like to now walk you through a demonstration on exactly how this is done. On your screen, you'll see that I'm logged into my demo account. The first thing I'll do is click on this admin button in the top right corner. Next, I will locate this new icon that we added at the top right of your screen. When you hover over it, it says funding. Clicking on this icon takes you to the funding page. One of the first things that may have caught your eye is that we redesigned our sidebar widgets, as shown on the left side of the screen. The main change that we made here is that we separated money from points. We wanted to make that clear distinction because they are different in the Awardco platform. Under the funding summary, deposits shows the lifetime deposits that you have made in your funding account. Redemptions similarly shows the total lifetime redemptions that have been withdrawn. And at the bottom, you can see your current up-to-date funding account balance. It's important to note here that the funding account balance, if it hits zeros, orders will not be processed. This is one of the main takeaways that I want you to take away with you from our live webinar today. Thinking back to the bank analogy, you need to have funds in your funding account in order for product redemption to occur when points are redeemed. Starting right now, if you do not have sufficient funds in your funding account, orders will not be processed, but rather they'll go into a holding queue where you will then be contacted, and once funds are received, orders will then go through as normal. One thing also to note here is that this funding summary applies specifically to the funding account payment method. So for example, if you have a credit card on file and are using that with just the Amazon Award Network, this will not be relevant to you. You will just see zeros here because you are not utilizing the funding account payment method. Under the points summary, company account shows you the total points available to be budgeted. In budgets shows you the total amount of points across all your budgets. In wallets shows you the total amount of points that have been awarded but not yet redeemed. In wallets is a new term, and as you can see here, we actually have tooltips on each one of these data points. And so if you forget the definition of any of these that I've just recently gone over, you can hover over the tooltip, and for example, in wallets, it'll show you right here that it's the total points awarded that have not yet been redeemed. This is an important number to note because Any amount of these points can be redeemed at any given time. Therefore, it's your potential liability. And one piece of advice I'd like to give on this webinar is that you can now that we've separated out money versus points, you can now compare your potential liability, or the total points in wallets, to your funding account balance, and make sure that you have enough money in your funding account to cover the points, right? It all goes back to that bank analogy. That's the simple analogy that I want you to think about it like. It's a bank. It's your money, but you got to make sure that you have enough funds in the funding account to cover your points. Otherwise, once again, orders will not go through until funds are received. In the middle of your screen, you'll see a transaction report. This shows a history of all point deposits that have been made. If you want to add more points into your platform, it's as simple as clicking on this button that says Add Points. When I click on it, the pop-up has two options. I can input a point amount, or I can input a currency amount. Inputting an amount in one auto-populates the other. We did this so that it gives you the flexibility as a user to think about it in currency or to think about it in points. This is especially beneficial if you have a point multiplier that is not one-to-one. However, as you can see here, if I highlight it, my point ratio is 1-to-1, and the majority of all companies use a 1-to-1 multiplier. But if you do not have a 1-to-1, it'll take that into consideration to help you better manage that. The last thing I'll do is put in some notes explaining what these points are going to be used for. So I will put Finance Webinar, and I will deposit these 1,000 points. Next, there's a modal to confirm, just in case you may have entered one too many zeros, right? Go ahead and confirm. And the last modal that we give you is for your convenience. You can now click Go to Budgets so that you can now allocate these newly added points to different budgets. Or you can simply click Close, and that's it. It's as simple as that. We're really excited about this, and you can now go and add points at any time at your convenience. If you'll notice here in the transaction report that there's a new entry for the points that I just added. And also, you'll notice that in my points summary, I now have 1,000 more points in my company account. An important thing to note here is that although I added 1,000 points, I do not have 1,000 extra dollars in my funding account. And that is because points are added immediately. However, funds are not added until the invoice is paid and funds are received. This brings me into the last topic that I want to cover with you today, and that is the different invoice options that we offer when you add your own points. The two invoice methods that we offer are upon point deposit and monthly on awarded. Upon point deposit is as simple as it sounds. You deposit points, and within 24 hours or the next business day, you'll get an invoice for the amount of points that you deposited. Once that invoice is paid, the funds will then appear in your funding account and you're all set. So for example, with the 1,000 points that I just added, I should expect to receive an invoice within 24 hours for $1,000. And once I pay that invoice for $1,000, I will then have $1,000 more in my funding account. It's that simple. The other invoice method is monthly on awarded. On this invoice method, you can still add points whenever you want at your convenience. And then on the first of each month, we will run a report to calculate the total amount of points that were awarded during the previous month. We will then get that number and send you an invoice for that amount. Once that amount is paid, the funds will appear in your funding account and you're all set. If you're wondering what invoice method you are on, it's most likely upon point deposit because that is the default method. However, if you would like to confirm that, learn more about either of these methods, or switch over to being invoiced monthly on awarded, please let us know, and we'll be happy to set up a meeting with you, and we'll go ahead and tackle that together. So just one other thing I'd like to mention with the monthly on awarded invoice method is that it does require a security deposit up front as well. And so I don't want to go too much in detail there, but if you would like to learn more, please let us know and we'll be happy to talk further details with you. Just to recap on these exciting new updates, you can now add points whenever you want at your convenience inside of your Awardco platform. You will then be invoiced for those points depending on the method that you are set up on. We also redesigned our sidebar widgets to help you better manage your finances, your funding account, your points, right? You can now gain insight and visibility to answer those questions such as, how many points do I have available to award? How many points do I have available to budget? Do I have enough money in my bank account, in my funding account, to cover my potential liability? Right? You can now answer these questions and see that from our sidebar widget. We're really excited about these updates. And once again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your account manager. As Tanner mentioned at the beginning of our webinar, both him and I are more than happy to jump on calls and go through these updates in more detail, because we really want to all be on the same page. And once again, our goal is to make it simple. Sure, it'll take some education and some learning along the way, but we want to make it as simple as possible for you, so please don't hesitate to reach out. That's all I had to cover from my updates today, so I will turn the time back over to Tanner to answer any questions that may have come through or to give some closing remarks. But thank you very much.
Perfect. Chris, thank you for the update and the training today about the new finance release, and we're really excited. Obviously, this is going to alleviate a lot of administration time back and forth between Awardco and you as the administrator over your program, being able to add these points. A few questions that came in that we want to highlight really quickly that we think are important. Is the funding page updated in real time? And the answer is yes. As soon as you add points, points are added to your platform. You will see that in real time as you add those points. And then when an invoice is generated, when we receive confirmation of that payment, it is immediately updated here in the platform. So you'll see that as soon as payment is received by Awardco. So yes, it is updated in real time. Along with that, one of the questions is, are the points issued? Can we immediately use those points once they've been issued? And as Chris addressed, yes, you can. The one question there, or the answer there that we want to highlight is, when you issue these points, yes, they're available for immediate use. However, you can recognize, you can go through all of this, but when the program runs and the employees go in, they redeem, they get awarded, and they redeem for items. If there's no balance or money that's been funded, those orders will remain in the queue until we receive payment for those. And we do this because we want to allow you as an organization to have your programs get up and running. If you need to add points, you need someone to get recognized, we can do that immediately. Most likely you don't have 100% redemptions in your platform, so you will have a balance in your funding account. But like Chris mentioned, you will be receiving invoices immediately after you send those or add additional points. One other question we had is, on specific programs like a holiday program. We would like to mention that if you're running a holiday program or there's a planned program that you will be running, you probably want to add points in advance and make sure that those points are funded. If you run one of these programs, you'll experience a high volume of redemptions during that period, and so you'll want to make sure that that's well in advance. Those points are added, invoices received, and you'll have time to pay for that to make sure that those points are funded. Let's see. So another question that we had into the platform is, who's available to see the funds, the new widgets on the funding as far as monetary account balance and point balance. And Chris, I'll kind of leave that up to you as far as who's available to see the funding page.
Yes, that's going to be anyone that has admin permissions. If you have admin permissions, you'll be able to log in and access this funding page.
Perfect. Okay, we have a few questions coming in here. One regarding if you accidentally put points into a budget that you wanted in another budget, how do you change it? So this is a little bit farther step down the road of when you add points into the platform. Once you've added points into your account, you have the option, if you have budgets turned on and you have budgets throughout the organization, when you add a budget to a specific, add money to or points to a budget, you have the opportunity to reverse that. And you can either do that on your own or through your account manager by putting a negative amount that you would like pulled out of the platform, and then it will return to your company balance, and there you can reissue to a different budget. You can do that on your own, or you can reach out to your account manager and they'll help you get those budgets changed.
And the nice thing is, under the point summary, when you do something like that, you will see that the amount in budgets will go down and the amount in your company account will be increased by whatever amount you are withdrawing from a budget.
Great, thanks, Chris. Another question that just came in was for if you have a credit card on file, will we be able to add points immediately when we have a credit card on file? And the answer is yes. The way we have it set up on the Awardco side is when you have a credit card on file, you can add points as needed. No need to reach out to Awardco. You'll still have this funding page. But again, you have a credit card on file, so you won't have or use the funding account balance, but you'll be able to add points as needed. So yes, same process still applies. You just won't receive an invoice for the points that are issued. One of the things, and we're wrapping up on our time here, and we want to be sensitive to everyone on the webinar. But one of the questions is what is Chris and I's contact information? We're going to be reaching out with all the account managers with a follow-up of this webinar and our contact information. And what we're going to be doing is, if you have questions, feel free to schedule a meeting with your account manager and request that Chris or I be on those calls. And that's our plan over the next couple of weeks as we're ironing out some of these details, and as questions come up, we're going to be jumping on those calls individually with each organization to make sure this is set up correctly and that you're on the right workflow process as you desire. So
yeah, and one last thing, I know some of you may have submitted questions that we were not able to go over in our time today, but we have those questions captured. And so we hope to reach out to you and talk about those questions that you have, so that we can get everything clear up and make sure we're all on the same page there.
Great. And we have the list of questions as far as what's coming in right now. And again, I think we'll probably go through these individually, and so you'll probably receive an individual response as well.
Correct. Yep.
Great. Well, we're excited about the new change. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out, and we're planning on communicating with you after the call with your account managers. Thank you, and have a great day.